Oh shit. Oh shit. What is going on, chat? Hello everybody. Welcome back to the Kilted Pork channel. I am Kilted Pork and welcome to what we like to call Therapy Thursday. The whole point of today is we will be joined by Asteria, and I'm hoping she's coming in soon, who is a licensed therapist, and we are essentially here discussing mental health topics. So if you have anything that you would like us to discuss, any like reason why you might be feeling sad, or anything that's going on in your life, would you like a little bit of information on why you might be feeling a certain way, please feel free to post it in chat and we will discuss it, and hopefully it'll make you feel better. That's the whole point of this whole thing. And I know it says just chatting on the stream, but we will be playing Fall Guys because it's between her and I, we both have ADHD, so we just kind of have to focus on something else while we talk. It's just one of those things. So that being said, let's see if my mouse wants to work. First off, let's see if she is on the Discord. Wait for it. Oh man, Discord's off to the wrong side. Hello, Discord. There you are. Hello? She's in here, chat. I can see her. Hello?
Hello.
There she is.
It's
Hi.
me. Hi.
It's the professional.
I'm Asteria. And it still makes me laugh that people call me a professional.
It is pretty interesting that people call you a professional because I know you personally. All right,
no one believes me how much a menace I can be. Did you know that?
Really?
They really think they're like, oh no, like what's the most that you can do? And I'm like, whoa.
Everyone thinks that you're some sweet old lady.
It's because I'm 83 years old.
So when you finally hit 83, you're going to be like 169.
You found it.
There we go. There's the key to aging. It's like, just, you don't have to live to be 130. Just tell people that you are 130.
Why not?
Yeah.
Nothing matters.
Exactly.
Fuck it.
Here, actually, I'm going to see if I can turn you up a bit because you have been quite quiet. I've been watching a few things on the recordings.
Oh, and I'm quiet.
Yeah, I want to turn you up a bit.
Don't turn me up too high. I'm not a fan of heights.
Funny.
Thank you. I know I am. Thank you.
Okay, so real quick, I'll step away just because I want to turn my lights on and stuff, and I left my phone over elsewhere because people are blowing it up. Tell everybody who you are and your qualifications and whatever the hell the stuff that you can't do. I forgot what it's called. I'm drawing a blank.
Oh man, I was about to say don't hurt yourself. It's okay.
I have one brain cell and I'm stretching it.
Stretching is important. So I as I will continue to address myself here, I go by Asteria. I'm an associate marriage and family therapist as recognized by the state of California. And I like to use this platform, one, to find an excuse to play and hang out, or play games and hang out with Kilted. Don't let him know. But hey,
I can
stop.
hear you.
Go over there. Anyway.
I am over here. Chat can probably see me.
Oh, okay. But also I would like to assist people with being able to have more access to resources and support in ways that I can extend it without breaking the bounds of my job and my scope of practice and competency, and you know, I just want to respect all those lines. So this is the most I can do with where I am right now. That being said, I want to emphasize that this is to ask general questions. A lot of it is also my opinion, because I am not on the clock right now, so I don't have to be as put together.
Disclaimers, that's the word. I'm sorry, go ahead. I just thought of it.
Thank you. And I don't do diagnoses. I don't know you personally. I would actually advocate for all of you to stop getting all your fucking diagnoses from TikTok. And if that applies to you, then lace that bitch up and wear it straight to your local therapist, because you should be talking to a professional.
And that's why you're my professional. Yay, kinda.
And that's why I'm here. So no diagnoses. Love to hear from y'all. No questions are dumb. I will not give out therapy, but I will discuss concepts related to clinical psychology. And that's it. Thank you, everyone.
All right. That being said, is there any specific topic you wanted to go over today? Anything going on in your life? Well, I forgot to ask. How are you? Stop eating.
So, no, I'm going to eat my dinner because I had to go straight from work to therapy to this.
Therapy, get therapy, then give therapy.
Yeah. So here's something I would like to mention, just for anyone that's actively engaging in therapy right now. Whether you agree with me or not, that's up to you. This is just a personal opinion as a therapist. Make sure your therapist has a therapist. If your therapist does not have a therapist or some kind of equivalent, they could even have a life coach, even though I definitely have my feelings about that. But make sure they have a therapist, because if they don't, that means that they're just raw dogging those stories day in and day out. That's gonna destroy them. So they may be working off like one loose like bolt off the fucking car, and that can do a lot of damage. So that is just your free tip of the day.
That being said, let's say somebody did go into therapy, and how do you
go ahead, take your time.
Okay, so I'm sure when you go to see a new therapist, you might be able, because, you know, I'm sure when you go into a clinic or whatever, they go, oh, what kind of, do you want a male, female, blah, 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 that whole thing. I'm sure you might be able to get away with asking them straight up front, does anybody here have a therapist that I could talk to? They have their own therapist. I mean, that's probably the best time I'd feel to ask that question. But if you already have a therapist that you've been seeing and you don't know if it's, like, let's say you're not like completely attached to them in a way, how do you go about asking them if they have a therapist without it being, because I feel like if I was a therapist and a client came in and asked me that, I feel maybe it'd be overstepping some bounds in a way.
Well, teach their own. Ultimately, a part of my job, I don't know if people are already aware of this or not, but we have a part of the job that's called disclosures. And sometimes we have to make a clinically, okay, I'm going to emphasize this for any therapist that may be listening at any point. And if this is you, then I hope I don't find you in the back of the camp. And if you know, you know. Is this it's this magazine where they put all like it's like the bathroom walls of therapy world, where they talk about people that are legally getting charged or have their licenses stripped from them because of not doing their job right.
So it's the place to shit talk for therapists.
But it's very organized, because it's only done through if there was a court case related to it not necessarily a court case, but just a case with the Board of Behavioral Sciences. It could also include the legal court system. Okay, so it has to be essentially include files that have been released for public viewing, I guess, or whatever, released to the public. Which I think most court cases have to be after a certain point. Is that not true? I'm not sure. That's outside of my scope, so I don't know.
Yeah, we'd have to find somebody that's taken the bar exam.
Mm.
I hit my head on a bar once.
Yeah, and that's why we got to be careful with you. Anyway, so what are we talking about now?
Oh, no, I was going to ask if you have any topics for today, or do you just want to kind of wing it like I typically do?
Wait, real quick. You can ask your therapist if they have a therapist, like directly.
Okay.
They have the right to deny that. That's why I was talking about disclosures. They don't have to tell you. Ultimately, I tell my clients, like my clients be like, "Hey, do you have a therapist of your own?" I'm like, "Oh, absolutely." I'm like, but I won't disclose the information of my therapist.
Right. You don't have to say who it is, just that you do have one.
Mm-hmm.
Just lie to them. Be like, I go to BetterHelp.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Don't use BetterHelp. Like, BetterHelp will not be a sponsor here on my, like, over my dead body if it ever happens. Do not use BetterHelp. Thank you.
Hey, look, if they pay me enough money, I'll sponsor anybody.
Fair. It's your page. Okay, topic for today. Well,
I don't know if you already had one going into it.
No, I didn't. I'd like to hear if you have any ideas. I'd like to kind of jump off of that. I like doing jumping off points.
Gotcha. Well, we can kind of... I mean, you already know where most of my problems kind of lie or isolated at. But I mean, if you really want to just go off the deep end, we can kind of dive into my current... I don't know how to really work. I'm just going to like... I'm just going to group it into the whole sex life area.
Okay.
Or lack thereof. So basically, I'm experimenting with something. Oh man, this is really putting myself out there.
Okay,
So,
is it a person?
no.
Wait, real quick. I'm gonna sound weird for a little bit because I just I drank some water and went down the wrong pipe, so I gotta find my voice again. So just FYI, okay, bye.
Okay, yeah, I'm having an affair with Bob Dole. Bob Dole, extra style. No, so my whole thing was, basically for anybody that, I mean, I really opened the doors on this stream, but basically anybody that's been watching knows that, my whole dating life is pretty not good, to say the least. So, and basically it gets to a point where I'm trying to find anything to do to kind of like take my mind off of it.
Okay.
And now I'm trying something. Now I know that you can look at this and basically say that will never work, but this is like my own experiment, because I'm pretty sure it won't work either. It's more of a, hey, let's see what happens. Kind of like you know, throwing some grapes in the microwave. You know, let's see what happens. Little did you know that they'll actually spark up like aluminum foil. So what I'm trying to do, I think I might have mentioned this last week. I'm trying to eliminate anything in my life that would be some sort of like anything that would kind of put me in a spot where I'd feel, I don't know how to explain it. All I can say is like I bought a weighted blanket I had for a while, or I still have it, and I was like, I'm gonna, well, I still have it. It's in the closet now. So I took that off my bed because, you know, the whole point of the weighted blanket, based on like information I've heard, is it's a way to simulate, you know, essentially like being hugged in a way, because that's what the weight does.
And help, yeah.
Yeah. So
because the compression feels safe.
So that was kind of like the main reason I got it. Plus, they are just like, I mean, the first time I tried them, I was like, oh man, this thing's just comfortable. It's just nice having something heavy on you. You just feel warm and cozy. So that's why I got one.
Me too.
And so I was like, all right, well, that's also kind of making me like think, oh man, I wish there was actually a person. So I eliminated that from my bed. And then I also, like, for years, I've always had like a body pillow on my bed because, you know, sometimes that wasn't for like a, What's up?
I love body pillows.
Oh yeah, they're great. I like it. Like during the summer, they're really nice because like I use it to like prop my legs open a little bit to get some air in there. I know that sounds gross, but I mean, you know, it fucking gets hot during the summer. I mean, you could use a regular pillow, but the body pillow just seems to work better. You can like fold it over and all that jazz. But anyway, you know, sometimes I'd wake up and I'm like just like holding it. I was like, okay, I was like, this is getting sad. So take that off my bed. Get rid of that shit also. So I'm basically eliminating anything that would resemble essentially the thing that I'm not able to obtain. God damn, I'm going deep quick. I should have had more beer.
I was like, what time is it?
Yeah, when did we start? Shit, we've been recording for like 16 minutes. So basically, and then I keep saying basically a lot. But so I eliminated those factors to kind of get rid of anything that would kind of make me think about the fact that I don't have anyone in my life. And then I've also gone to the point where, let's just say, how can I word this and not make it crass?
You could try the best you can.
I'm trying to see if I can somehow override my monkey brain and not go through self-maintenance. Let's put it that way. If you know what I mean. Because monkey brain's like, hey, bud, you know that thing that you know that thing that guys do. Let's try to not do that anymore. Yeah, that's the one. I didn't want to use that word. God, that's just such a crap word.
It's okay.
But it's just it's a crap word. I don't like it. I don't like.
Word.
Yeah, it's a word and it sucks. I don't like that word. I don't like. What's another really shitty word?
Shit.
I don't like the word puberty. That one always kind of bothered me.
What about these words are like impactful to you?
Honestly, I bet you I can pinpoint this one. This one all goes back through teenage years where these conversations, or, you know, when you're going through the big change, and I don't mean menopause. And it's just like shit that was always kind of like thrown in my face because it was something I, as at that age, had to worry about in a sense because I was a late bloomer. So I was like constantly kind of ridiculed by my peers about, you know, not being a man when everybody else was. Wee-hee! So I didn't like talking about it. I didn't like having it thrown in my face. It was just, you know, I didn't like it.
Right.
I didn't mind learning about it. I just didn't want to. It was just like, fucking leave me alone. I don't want to deal with this shit. I'm out. It's just becoming a problem. Always thinking about freaking girls all the time and like, oh my god, like, yeah, she's hot, and just being stressed out. And I'm just sitting there like, hey, here we are. I don't know what, freaking, you know, 15 years later, dealing with the same fucking thoughts. Going, hey, she's hot. Look, you can't do anything about it. It's like, all right, cool.
Damn straight problems sound difficult.
Yeah, they're not great. Because I'm just sitting there, it's like, I could try to talk to that girl, but that also leads to the possibility of me getting kicked out of the gym or not being allowed back in the Starbucks or going to jail because she said I was staring at her too long, because I've heard stories. Go news.
The news always has something to say.
Yeah, I mean, just like, honestly, a lot of those stories I heard around that age terrified the shit out of me because it's always like, oh, you know, this guy got thrown in jail and kicked out of college because he slept with a girl who he had proof in his phone that she consented. It was her idea. And she was like, hey, can I come over so we can hook up? He's like, yeah, sure. And then they do it. And then she regretted her decision in the morning. And then boom, dude's got jail time and kicked out of school because she didn't like what she did. I was like, fuck that. Keep my hands to myself. That's the one lesson I could probably, you know, kept from my parents.
I feel like that was a time period, but I don't think it's all the time like it once was, because with the development of technology and shit, a lot of stuff can get proven better.
Yeah, it can. That is true, but it's still like that. All that whole wave of shit came along at a point in my life where, you know, where things are getting imprinted on the brain. Is that how I want to put that? You know what I mean? yeah, so that's just like one of the lessons. I'm just like, yep, I'm remembering that one. And then, I mean, if you really want to dig deeper into that situation, let's go ahead. Why not? I got a shovel. I don't just have any shovel. I have a spade.
I have a lot of I have my thoughts right when you said that. I'm like, this can go so deep that it can jump into my trauma. So we'll see where this goes.
Trauma
bonding.
Yay. So I think I've mentioned to you this story back in elementary school. So when you're really impressionable. The fuck? Did you hear that? I think there's this one guy that likes to drive up my street. I think he drives a white BMW, and I don't know for whatever reason, because like the
oh, I can hear that clear as fucking day.
Yeah, the speed limit up my street is 25 miles an hour, and this guy's like, you know, and it's off of a main street. So, you know, the main street down there, the speed limit's like, what, 45 or something? You don't hear him coming up that street at all. It's not until he gets onto this very tight side street with a lot of cars parked on the side and people that like to walk in the middle of the road and not look both directions. That's where he's like, time to put it to the floor over this blind hill that has driveways on it. I'm just like, dude, this guy is going to, like, his car's obnoxious, first off, and he's just doing some stupid shit. I don't mind going fast, but that is not the spot for it. Like, of all the spots around here, that is the worst place to do it. Blind driveways, people that don't understand what a sidewalk is, and, you know, I mean, because remember, I got in a car accident right there, and I wasn't doing under the speed limit. I was doing 20, and that freaking lady pulled out in front of me, and I fucking slammed into her. Because she doesn't know how to look both directions. So if this guy's doing, I don't know, what he's probably getting up to at least 50 by the time he hits the top of the hill. Maybe more. So, yeah, anyway, back to the whole point. So, another thing that's probably, I mean, this one's stuck in my head. This one I remembered, and this is probably like another part of my deathly fear of talking to women, is I remember it was, let me pinpoint it. Was it second or third? Third grade. I was in school, and I think I told you this story before, and there was a girl that was in my class. You know, even at that age, you still find people attractive. It's just in a different way. And so
I don't. But keep going.
No, I mean, like, okay, well, maybe it's just a guy thing.
I don't even know.
What the fuck was that? Anyway, so. I mean, you hear like kids, like I've heard kids at the age like, I have a girlfriend at school, you know, but it's not like the same thing as an adult.
Yeah.
But so there was this one girl that I thought she was pretty, and I wanted to talk to her. And I gone up to her one day and I told her, I was like, hey, I really like you. I think you're pretty. She was uncomfortable with that. She went to the principal, told the principal, I got suspended for a week.
Fuck. That's
yeah.
Awful. So no wonder these instances are that about like reports get to you.
Oh yeah.
Like you experience something like that.
Yeah.
No wonder you're more cautious about it, but you definitely got trauma.
Oh yeah, it definitely terrifies the shit out of me. And like I said, the news doesn't help.
No, the news has its impact, definitely, and it's quite direct, to say the least.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, you know, TikTok and all that stuff, that doesn't help either, because they'll be sitting there like, no, girls, and I can't believe this guy looked at me when he was at the gas pump. He was staring at his pump, and he looked at me, and he stared for 2 seconds. So I called the police. It's like, fuck, you know, I can just stare at the floor and not deal with these problems. Did we not qualify?
No.
Damn it. So go ahead, unbury that treasure chest. Yeah, there we go. This one's a challenge for you.
No, it's not.
Oh, I got bath time.
No, it's actually really simple. Sorry, don't mean to.
You were texting.
Not to underrate your experience. I was, and it was important. And you were important too. So with that, now to give you my full attention, the thing is that you've experienced something like this, and you're also experiencing another source of reinforcement through like media, right? And so what happens, especially when you're very what's that word where you can like where you're easily like swayed,
Impressionable. Smooth brain.
Uh, and but because of that, that's something that it didn't reach a level for you to have to challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like imprinted as truth in your system. So now you're just kind of living with it. So
because also it goes because those two, not just the media, but my situation also lines up, and you hear this all the time. I mean, it's not just with. I mean, you hear it all the fucking time, even from people, just other people that you know personally. It's my word versus their word, and it's statistically in society, at least in this country, the man is always, you know, pushed on, like in those situations. It's we always believe the woman no matter what. It doesn't matter what the fucking situation is. So that's why it's, you know, that's like a big one for me. It's like, it doesn't matter if I'm in the right or in the wrong, or if I did anything wrong. If she says I did something wrong, then it happened. And also, if you remember with the one ex, not the most current one, but let's say the doctor, you remember the whole situation where she said that I R-worded her.
But no, that was okay. I'm going to give context immediately before someone starts thinking otherwise.
Yeah, you better put that into context.
Yeah,
like, and don't use the full word, because I'm sure like that'll get picked up on like terms of service, and like YouTube's gonna flag it.
I won't do that. But I will say this. She said this because when they were at a concert together,
I think you were at that concert too.
I was there for this actual incident, which is like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that
I gift wrapped her.
Because you grabbed her boob when you were like,
I wasn't even drunk. She was standing in front of me. We're just watching the concert, and I was just being playful, and I went, wah, wah. That's all I did. I even made the little squeaky noise because it was funny.
Yeah, you honked like a freaking,
like a goose. I was like, that's funny.
Like, with some folks, like, I want to emphasize that, like, there's a concept that can be related to this about like consent and so forth. This doesn't apply to that this time, because this is like, they've done similar stuff before. This is like the first time she said this.
Yeah, this was after we were together for like 2 years at that point.
And like, she was also claiming a bunch of other stuff about you too, because it's like, because you smoked weed, you're a drug addict.
Yes.
Because that's her trauma too, speaking. Like, going into these extremes in order to push her thoughts one way or another,
mm-hmm.
because she had internal conflict, obviously. And so she was trying to, her parts of her were trying to sway her to one extreme just so that it can make a decision and stop being, or leaving this conflict internal. That's
mm-hmm.
what I was picking up.
Right. So that being all clarified, like, I mean, what I'm saying is, first off with the thing in elementary school, and then the stuff you hear on the news and from other people, not just that, it's and then stuff like that. I when she said that word to me, I shut down. I straight up shut down. I don't think I talked to her for, well, first off, when she said that, I didn't talk to her for the rest of the day. I kept my mouth shut. I kept my hands in my pocket. I just stared at the floor. I did not do anything. I was like, nope, I'm done. Like, I fucking shut down. And honestly, that was probably the like beginning of the end of that relationship because of that situation. God damn it.
I think that she was already contemplating ending the relationship. in some capacity, but her mind was like fighting her, and I think that she was trying to push it to one extreme to really try to commit. But it's like, but at the fucking cost of like your safety.
Yes. And that's why I eventually had to explain that to her. She was like, oh, well, it's no big deal. I'm like, what do you mean that's not a big deal? I was like, if somebody heard you say that, that's automatic jail time for me. And I was like, there is no, oh, we'll figure it out and get back to you later. And I was like, sorry, I'm just getting flabbergasted here. Basically, what I explained to her, I said, you don't understand how dangerous that word is to be said towards a man, because let's say I said this exactly to her. I said, if I'm walking down the street on one side of the road just minding my own business, and there happened to be a woman on the other side of the road, if she said, and she sees a cop going by and says, oh my god, officer, stop, that guy, you know, gift wrapped me, he R-worded me, without question, I will be detained and probably put in jail. If she throws enough of a fit and, you know, plays it off well enough, that's automatic, me in jail without a court case, and I have to sit there and wait until something happens. And guess what? In the jail systems, do you know how that works? Prisoners, or you know, people, inmates or whatever, what they do, the whole thing is, they try to find your papers. They want to know what you're in for. So anybody that's freaking diddled the kiddles, or freaking done violence against women, or freaking gift wrapped people, those people get fucking stabbed to death immediately in jail. So I had to explain that to her. I was like, you saying that word, if for some reason somebody heard that and the police were called, that is a possible immediate death sentence for me. No questions asked. And I had to explain that to her. I was like, this is why that word does not fly around me unless it's fucking serious. I mean,
yeah, I remember that was a lesson that, like, I don't know if you ever received it, but a lesson from Dad. He would fucking talk about that shit all the time.
Yeah, I mean, let's get it straight. I'm not 100% against the word, because I do joke about it, but I will not joke about that word in public. Well, I don't know. I have to be around people I'm comfortable with. I won't use it in a serious manner. Let's put it that way. I'll use it in jokes, but that's different. I'm not accusing anybody.
Right. Dang, you just freaking killing this game.
So, I mean, we can just pile that into the whole trauma about, you know, why I mean, because, you know, if I feel like if people would look at me like, this guy, look at him. He's got a personality. He's got all this shit going for him. This guy probably gets bitches left and right. No, because I am deathly fucking terrified of them. It's because of these situations. And it's like, you know, I can sit here and like keep my hands to myself, stare at the fucking floor, and then I get to not be in jail.
Okay.
So I just don't know how to go about handling that trauma.
Oh, my game crashed.
That would explain it. Wait, are we out? I haven't paid attention.
Oh, but I'm definitely, because my game crashed.
I don't think I made it either. Nope, I didn't. Exit. All right, yeah, relog. Relog. Yeah, you're not here. Wait, I don't think. Oh, damn. Qualify for mini round. We're almost done with that part. Anybody that's passing through chat, just a heads up, this is Therapy Thursday with myself, Kilted Pork, and Asteria, where we answer any of your mental health questions. Feel free to post them in chat. We'll discuss it. She is a professional therapist, licensed in all sorts of crap that I don't feel like going over because it's a lot. So have fun. Oh, my neighbor's home again for like the third time today.
It's almost like she lives there.
I know, right? Hey, let's do this. Yep. Haha. Nope. Damn it. I hate that power here. No! Wrong button. Sorry, my freaking mouse was dragging.
Don't you hate when that happens?
Yeah, for some reason Fall Guys just gets my computer to drag ass. I don't know why. It's mainly this game. Invited you. I'm gonna invite you.
No, invite me. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that.
Invited. Invite again. Decline game invite. There we go. Alright, we're back in here.
And so we're back.
Alright, so go ahead and unwrap that traumatic.
Already, or about everything I did. You were talking about related to like the whole like R word thing. Specifically with your ex, because we already addressed the other piece.
Okay,
I think you're getting.
Well, when I'm trying to.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Let me get back to the microphone. All right, so what I'm trying to basically find out is how do I move past that so where I don't feel threatened about going out and talking to people, you know, and striking up a conversation. This is why I'm hell-bent on, or not hell-bent, let's just rephrase that. I'm very for women making the first move, which unfortunately, especially in this country, they don't want to. They want to be chased, they want to be, you know, courted, but then again, it's adding all this fucking danger into the situation, and if the wrong guy courts them, they just complain about it, and fucking they don't just go, oh no thank you. I mean, I've seen it just become a situation. And it's just like, why don't you guys just go after, like, why don't you, the ladies go after what you want? It makes it so much easier. That way we aren't feeling like we're being threatening. And, you know, you guys have all the power in that situation anyway. So it's like, we have to sit there and deal with, hey, should I risk getting 1 shot down, 2 possibly kicked out of this place, you know, and all these other fucking problems, and then 3, you feeling like you've been somehow mentally freaking disrupted or something. I don't know. I mean, it's just insane.
No.
Because I feel
like trauma is the summary of what we're talking about.
Okay.
Ultimately, you're not gonna like, do you actually just want the answer, or do you want me to like walk you through this?
Go for a walk. We got time to kill.
Okay, so it sounds to me that you are feeling a certain way about like the views of like your safety in this world, right? Like you as a male person who is also like presenting as male.
Yes, and I'm gonna throw one more thing in there. So you know my friends, quote unquote friends.
I'm gonna, yeah.
So with the ones I like hang out with from time to time, they are all single too, and from what I can gather, they also don't want to deal with it. And I hear it on, you know, I see it on TikTok all the time. Also, these guys are just like, I don't want to fucking deal with it. You know, no thanks. It's safer and easier just to stay single and just deal with our freaking our sadness or depression than it is to go out and do that shit. And it sucks because it's a lose-lose situation. Because, you know, it's like you take the risk with a high chance of, you know, what seems like a high chance of bad things happening, or you sit there and, you know, basically deny your monkey brain needs and just live with it.
Well, there's like the thing that you could be like, I'm just gonna get to the aspect of it all. You're gonna have to do exposure, because you are now to the point where this has become a phobia.
Okay.
It's so I like in a sense. But anyway, it's to the point where it's like it sounds like it like significantly sends like too strict or too intense of an anxious feeling that maybe you're so familiar with you don't even notice anymore, but your body does, and it feels it. And so like the first thing it says is, oh, don't do that behavior, just don't do it, because right.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you're gonna have to expose, like if you want it to change, you have to expose yourself to those environments, probably slowly because it's so severe. But once you do, you kind of just start to like affirm your body to those environments again, and it can relearn new things about it. But what's going to be the problem?
Sounds like you're talking into a jar of water.
Oh, can you hear me now?
There we go.
Okay. But the problem is that you aren't going to believe it at first, but I'm telling you, it's not about believing it at first. It's about doing it anyway.
Uh-huh.
And in doing that, eventually your neuroplasticity in your brain will change. And the wires in your brain will change. And to where you will not believe that again.
Okay. Now, how does one go about exposing themselves to that situation? Because I've also thought about, not necessarily the exposure part. God damn it! But putting my, like, you know, trying to put myself into that environment, I guess, to where I could expose myself to it in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But again, society being society, especially in today's day and age with the post-panorama.
The Panasonic 5000.
Yeah, the Panametronic. It's, you know, how does one go about doing that? Because, you know, like, you know me, I have like running groups and stuff I'm part of. I go to the gym. There's people there. I go to school. Let's throw work out of the equation because that's just essentially two people sitting in an empty building. You know, and then I'm on the online dating apps. So I'm out there, and just based on my experience, it's even in all those situations, it's damn near impossible to actually meet someone because nobody is interested in communicating with other people today. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, if I want to put myself into that exposure area,
Mm-hmm.
how does I don't even know how I'm this, you know, for, you know me, and I consider myself a pretty fucking smart guy. This is the one puzzle I can't figure out. I feel like I got two circles and they're supposed to fit together to make a square. I don't know.
It's not about figuring it out. You're trying to apply rationale to this, and
Yes.
that's your problem.
Logic, engineer brain, you know me.
Yep, and as long as you continue to fuse to engineer brain and thinking that you can't go into emotion brain, that's not going to change. Sorry. You gotta tap into emotion brain.
Okay, how do we do that? Or what is emotion brain first? Like, what would emotion brain be doing that logic brain wouldn't?
Oh my god, what? Now we're getting somewhere. Oh,
Ooh,
these are great questions.
like the rest of them weren't? God damn, how?
No, this is really good though. Like, this is top tier stuff, right? Like, oh, chef's kiss. So now we're gonna talk about a concept that's called, oh my god, if there were actually any other therapists listening right now, I feel like I'd either get side eye or I get fucking judged or somebody just laugh with me. Hopefully that the last of it all. But we're gonna talk about a dialectic behavioral therapy approach, or DBT, that's called Wise Mind.
Wise mind?
Wise Mind.
Okay,
Yeah.
like wise like a wizard.
Wise like a wizard sleeve. Anyway,
Not like a wizard sleeve. Okay, I can tell you that. That's not the word to use there. Okay.
Wise. So,
God damn. All right, continue. Jesus fucking
Hey,
Christ.
don't you know what to do? Anyway. Oh shit. Okay. So anyway, so Wise Mind talks about these different ways to approaching the mind and breaking it down to a portion that is dedicated to rationale and a part of our mind that is dedicated to emotional experience, or like the emotional experience, because there's a difference between emotions and feelings. Did you know that? Did you know that there's a difference between emotion and feelings?
I did not.
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess you're just gonna have to stay ignorant to it, because I'm not gonna explain it. But because that has nothing to do with DBT, and that's mentalization. Or no. Yeah, that's mentalization. Anyway, so freaking in the rational mind, it's like looking at the situation from just like that, the logical aspects of it all. But the emotion mind is just purely how you are experiencing the self during this experience. So it's like can you like start to do, oh shit, oh sorry, this is here, oh okay, oh fuck, okay, cool.
Go clockwise. There we go.
Oh fuck, I'm going. Sorry, I'm gonna have to pause for a
Yeah,
second.
this is one of those games that's like, it's hard to discuss things, and remember, this is where engineer brain comes in. Oh, that was right. Hold on. Square. Up. Nope, you got it. You got it. Keep going.
There. Go.
Damn, this game. It's hard. This game is like the one that always messes up conversation.
Breathe. And then. Okay, you got it.
What are we missing?
Oh, what are we missing?
Yeah, that square behind you, right in front of you. Actually, right there. No, no, to the one off to the side. Those things aren't connected. They're connected diagonally. To your right. Now, the one right behind you. Get rid of that one. No, yeah, no. God damn it, hold on.
Go ahead.
Oh, wait, no, we gotta have those, actually. God damn it.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
My bad.
It was you.
Nope, I'm being dumb.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here, and then here. Oops, that's not. And these two. And then that's connected. And then.
Boom.
There we go.
Okay, so go ahead. Or whatever you were saying.
So the emotion brain is just that. It's like being aware of like your like bodily experience through that, and then defining how you feel as a result of that, and just not allowing rationale to motivate the emotions. And in doing so, you can hear from both sides, and Wise Mind is the place that you reconnect them back after you dissect it a bit, to where you can make a much more rationalized decision, which is going to lean into another concept that's called response flexibility. And that's, yeah, and it's where you start to learn how you actually want to go about your responses to stuff, rather than just reacting impulsively to one mind or the other.
Okay, so this is essentially like emotional brain fights engineer brain, is what I'm getting from it. So what you're...
It's not about fighting, it's about finding a compromise between. Because we're talking about DBT, which is dialectics of like these significant polar opposites, because many people think in extremes. So it's like, instead of thinking in extremes, it's like trying to find the middle ground, and that is what Wise Mind is. It's taking the extreme of one end, the extreme of the other, allowing them to both be heard, and then making it a rational and educated guess about how to approach at the place that they both meet.
Right. So
Correct.
Since my...
No!
Bye. So since my brain leans heavy to, I guess, the rationale brain, engineer brain,
Yeah, trauma.
and that's trauma. Engineer brain is not trauma.
Oh,
No,
yes.
no, I will fight that one. Just having an engineer brain doesn't mean you're traumatic. Oh,
It's
goodbye.
not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed trauma, but it can definitely be influenced by trauma.
Okay, I think we're talking about this differently.
Yeah.
I'm saying thinking like an engineer does not make you traumatic. Having
No,
everything revolve around it, perhaps.
the things that may have led you into engineer brain can be caused by trauma.
Okay. But that, oh, never mind. Anyway, go ahead. I mean, well, look at Elon Musk, I guess. I mean, he has a hard time holding relationships. He's probably got trauma. Smart as shit, though.
Yeah, haha. Now we're really getting somewhere. Fantastic.
Okay, so when they meet together, they form He-Man or whatever, and
He-Man. He's a man. That's a he. He said He-Man.
all right, so meet together, you get Wise Brain, and then what happens after that again?
So when you think through your wise mind, then you can start to support response flexibility. And when you increase your skills to response flexibility, you exit the reactive part of your mind, being in your limbic system, and then you can shift to other regions of your brain, like the just like the prefrontal cortex.
Okay, so how do you... I think we're going to have to go a step back. How do you get Wise Brain to happen?
You got to separate the rational from the emotional side.
And how does one go about doing that? This is the part we're going to have to break down.
Okay.
The point would have to be get to Wise Mind. And that's not, you know, it's like saying, you know, how do I buy a car? Well, go to the freaking dealership. Okay, well, what do I do there? So we need to start breaking that shit down.
I hear you, and that's fair. So how you break it down is that when you think of a problem, you can start by actively making, like, you can make a T chart of a list, like you would do like a pros and cons list, but once like you label the chart, whatever it is that you're trying to like obtain wise mind from, whether it's a conflict, a limitation, a current frustration, whatever it is, right?
Give us an example of like what would be something where you have like let's say you don't want to buy fruit because you find bugs in it sometimes or something. I don't know. That's just I don't know if that works.
Let's do something like that. Yeah. No, let's do something like that. Yeah. So you go to like so you're telling me is that you like fruit, but you're no longer buying it because you found bugs in it, but you still have a love for fruit.
Yes, I found bugs in it multiple times.
And so it's impacting your desire to buy fruit, but you still have a love for fruit.
Yes.
Okay. I can work with this. Bear with me.
Damn, I'm good at giving examples.
Yes, you are. So you start to make your T chart, and one side you put rational and one side you put emotional, right? So rationally, you can, I mean, you could start with one side or the other, but let's just start with rational because it's easier. Rational says like why because we'll save money from having to buy fruit that has bugs in it. And then it's another one, it's like then doesn't have to buy fruit, or like gets to save,
save money. You don't have to worry about getting sick.
You don't have to worry about getting eating bugs if that's something you don't want to do. You can or like it helps you support your health, whatever it is, right?
Yes.
So that's it, right? And like, and with rationale and then, but we're talking, like, now we're going to go to the emotional side. So how would you feel if you have a love for something, but you no longer can buy it for because of something out of your control?
It would suck.
Okay, boom. Stop there, because I know that the rationale would add a but to that.
Yes.
Let's stop right there.
Okay.
And say it would suck. Why would it suck?
Because it's something that makes me happy when it works.
Okay, so it impacts an opportunity to feel happiness.
Yes.
Okay, put that on the emotional side. Is that it would impact an opportunity to feel happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one right there, right? What is other feelings that you could come out of that?
Let's see, depends on how you want to call feelings. I mean, if, let's say, you buy the fruit and there's no bugs in it, yeah, you'll feel happy, and then maybe you'll gain a better quality of life because you're bringing in nutrients, I guess.
So that's rationale. That's still rationale.
Okay, so that's not the emotional side. Oh, I fell.
You're trying to identify like the feeling. So it's like, if it's about nutrients, it's like, what about how do you feel when you get proper nutrients?
Well, physically you feel better. I mean,
so you might experience feeling better, but what does feeling better, like, describe it?
Less stressed out, I guess. Let's see, what else? Feeling better. More energy, more motivation.
Right.
You know, stuff like that.
Right. So it sounds like you feeling better is something that is of value to you.
Yes.
So feeling better or feeling good is something you value.
Yes.
Right? So by not being able to eat this fruit, you may lose out on a chance to feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's another, like, aspect to it all.
Okay.
Like, what about, like, do you feel any feelings towards the bugs that are infesting the fruit?
Well, with this situation, the example I've come up with, I'd say that when you eat the bugs, one, it's gross. You know, so that, I guess that'd be an emotional thing. It's gross.
But it feels gross.
Yeah, it's a feeling of gross. You know, it just, you just don't like the way it looks. It tastes different. And then if you want, so I guess those would be towards the emotional side of that spectrum. But then on the logical side, that kind of counterbalance the nutrition. The bugs, let's say the bugs make you sick when you eat them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big worry. So, you know, So yeah, it's, again, this is probably where my logic brain comes to be a problem. So it's like, if I buy the fruit and it's not infested, it makes me happy, it makes me feel good. But if I buy the fruit and it's infested, it makes me feel like gross and it's bad for my health and makes me feel worse than if I just didn't buy the fruit.
Okay, so that's another thing you could put on the emotional side.
I brought you daffodils. Thank you for the follow.
Wait, who?
I brought you daffodils was their name. Thank you for the follow. If you have any questions about mental health, feel free to leave them in chat.
But like, that's something you can add to. You can add to the emotional mind. Even, it's like, if you get it, it's happy, and you can feel upset if you buy it anyway and freaking end up like getting them infested. You can mention that on that side because it is still an emotion.
Okay, so
to this experience.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
So, it's just laying it all on the table. It's literally just a strategy to lay it all on the table, but with a little bit more dissection to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can start making more well-rounded decision making.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why. That's what's going on.
Is this
there.
essentially like you're just weighing the odds?
But much more educated or much more well thought out rather than just pros and cons, because pros and cons can be too limiting.
Okay. So,
Because when you do rationale versus, or you do like a logic versus emotion, you can also hear from your values. You can also hear from your emotions of that moment, which is also valid. You can also hear from like the different parts of you that have different feelings about the situation, because anytime that you have a conflict in your mind, it feels like it's coming from two different sides, but when you dissect it, it's like, yeah, but this, oh, but that, and it's actually much more pieces than we like initially recognized.
okay. Here, let's switch this over to another example, something that I've kind of more experienced, like the person they've experienced. So you know that I like to go to EDC. Okay, and when I'm there with, I mean, I did this year, but like, you know that I like to partake in a certain substance while I'm there. Now, with this substance, the two things that go through my head when I have said substance is super happy, great time, everything's awesome when I have said substance, but also the logic, I guess if you want to call this the logic side of my brain, sits there and goes, I know how dangerous this can be if it's not handled properly and with great care and respect. And also, if it is handled incorrectly, very bad shit can happen. I have seen it. Not personally, like...
Are you talking about this, are you talking about the substance when you go out and you party?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you take said substance, great time. You have fun, you make great memories, but it also... it can go badly if not done properly. So, I mean, because in my brain, whenever I go there and I'm prepared to take said substance, every time I'm fucking scared. Even though I've done it before, I know what I have, and I know how to do it, I still, in the back of my head, probably based off of what our fucking father has done, I go, I know how illegal substances can fuck your life over. Badly. So I'm sitting there weighing the options on what and when and where. Typically, I go for it anyway because I somewhat trust myself. And then, with the exception of this year, I don't feel like I took a little bit, but it wasn't. I didn't do it like I normally do because of school. So the logic side of my brain is like, no, bro, you have finals coming up. You can't do this. This is a fucking serious time. You can't be fucking about. So. Is that a better analogy, or is the fruit work? Yes, we did make it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I did. I do goo.
You do goo. Thank you for doing so goo.
So I don't know if that's a better analogy to work with, since I have experience in that, or is the fruit one still better?
I think the fruit one's still good.
Okay, back to the fruit. Forget I said anything, chat. That has been stricken from the record.
I mean, it hasn't.
No! Slimer, you fucking fat bitch.
Oh, dang. Wait, who?
Slimer.
Tell him to stop being a whore.
A whore? Okay. Alright, so back to the fruit.
Fuck.
So good fruit makes me feel good, makes me feel healthy, I have energy, more motivated to do things, I sleep better, you know, all that. Yada, 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 yada.
Oh, wait. You're... No. I'm totally mistaken. Let's talk back to the substance thing.
Okay.
My bad. Okay. Can you review it one more time, please?
Okay. So with said substance, this can also be related back to, like, you know, I can, with said substance, I can pinpoint to an exact moment where my entire personality changed. The Slump Man, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Welcome to Therapy Thursday. If you have any mental health questions, throw them in chat and we will discuss them. And I died because I looked up.
Right when you said that, I died too, and I'm so upset. Okay.
Okay, so back. So with the said substance, I can pinpoint to a time back. It was 2012. It was about 2 a.m. on a Saturday night. I was standing there at this event listening to a song by a DJ I really liked when there was fireworks going off in the background. I had 3 people around me that I was enjoying my time with. I mean, it literally flipped a switch. Okay, I can pinpoint it. So great time, makes me feel great, and the after effects from it are, at least in my experience, have been good. That good feeling has, from that first time, had flown or overflown. Is that the word? Overflowed? Overflowed. There we go. Overflown. I was like, no, that's airplanes. Overflowed into probably 2 years afterwards, the afterglow effect, if you want to call it. And so I know what good can come from said substance, but I also, you know, growing up as you and I did with our father, I also know how said substances, not specifically this one because I don't think he did that one, but I know the risks, I know the dangers of it, and so I sit there and I weigh my options. I'm like, okay, this can go bad if I'm not careful. It can go very badly, very, very badly if I'm not fucking beyond careful. So that's why I studied the shit out of it, like to no goddamn end. And that's why I'm not like our cousin. I'm not fried like a fucking, you know, good morning egg.
Which, if you're listening, hey.
He's not watching. I don't even think he knows how to use a fucking computer.
He used to play WoW.
Whoop-de-doo. Slump Man, I don't have any questions, but I'm going through a little episode and don't know what to do. Well, if you feel comfortable enough to discuss it or throw it in chat, we will be happy to discuss it. Just to give you a heads up, Asteria here, not myself, but Asteria, she is a licensed therapist, and, you know, you want to give them the qualifications again?
I'm an associate marriage and family therapist under the state of California. I do not do diagnoses on here. I only do general questions.
There you go. So if you feel comfortable enough for us to talk about it live on the internet, then feel free to drop it in chat and we'll discuss it.
Correct.
So let's see if they make the decision or not. But until then, back to the point. They might have left. I might not have answered their question fast enough.
It's okay. Just keep going.
Okay, so yeah, the substance can be good if it's done properly, but you have to be very careful and ride a very fine line.
Correct.
And then it can also go very bad if you don't ride that line properly. So that's basically the example.
Okay, so let's break it down then, right? So once again, rational and emotion, right? Go ahead. Since you're very good at it and you're very developed in it, tell me the rational related to this.
On the good side or the bad side?
No.
Wait a minute.
It's not good versus bad. It's rational versus emotional, and I want you to list the rational.
All right, well, rationally. All right, hopefully I just. Okay, well, I'm just hoping I don't get like rational and emotional mixed up. So rationally, rationally, if it goes bad, let's start with the bad side. First off, it'll ruin your good time. Duh. Second, you can get thrown to the hospital. You could die. Or if you don't die, you'll do permanent damage to your brain. I mean, there's people that I know. I think you've met some people. I mean. Fuck it, look at our father. Different substance, same situation. He overdid it. He did it incorrectly. And he's fucking cooked like a goddamn Thanksgiving turkey. Dude's dumb as a stump. Like,
we have trauma.
Yes, I mean, fuck that guy. And, you know, if you really want to throw it on there are other people in our family that... Okay, basically, there's only 2 people in this family that I feel like have not overcooked their fucking brain on stuff, and let's just say both of them are, you can hear their voice on chat right now. So we're the, I feel like we're the only two in this family that aren't fucking baked. Entirely fucking fried out. So
It's very
okay, so that's the bad side. Now logically, on the good side, I don't know how.
It's okay. You're practicing.
Yeah, I just don't know if this falls under the logic side of things. I mean, like I said, it made me feel better, but I guess I don't know if that's emotions. You know, emotionally, I was happy for a while. I got an experience that I enjoy remembering, and it's good to tell stories, like reminiscing on it, and it had led me into a whole new way of living, I guess, if that's how you want to look at it.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let's put that on pause unless you can wrap that up real quick. The Slump Man has come in with some information. All right, Slump Man, we will go over to you. My stuff can wait because, you know, I'm here every week and it's no problem. Okay, here we go.
We'll have more time to talk about it.
All right, here we go. Listen up. We got a long one here. Let me clear my throat. All right, the Slump Man says, I'm 16. My dad treats my little sister like a princess and then treats me like shit. If I do one thing, he acts like I committed murder. But if my little sister does something, he's okay with it. I'm failing my school and he screams and yells at me and threatens to take my stuff away if I don't get it together. But my sister is failing 5th grade and he has to repeat it. If she's failing 5th grade and has to repeat it and he's doing nothing about it, I don't know what to do at this point. Okay, so I feel like this is a whole different situation. So Asteria, stop me if I'm off. First off, there's a big difference between, I'm assuming you're around sophomore in high school versus 5th grade. That's a big difference, because essentially if you don't, like, high school is way more important than 5th grade. If you fail high school, those are where, like, some of the major life lessons are being learned. 5th grade is just kind of, you know, teaching you how to essentially, like, function in a way. Like, you know, don't choke on your spoon. I mean, that's just a drastic example. But Esther, go ahead. So, high schooler versus 5th grader.
Like in a fist fight? Sorry.
Yeah, in a fist fight. They're duking it out. No, the Slump Man, 16, his father treats him like crap if he's failing classes, while his little sister, who's in 5th grade, can basically, what seems like, get away with murder and not get in trouble. The whole, you know, daddy favors the princess over his son kind of thing. This sounds very familiar. I feel like I'm in this boat. I'm sure you've been in this boat. We can see this.
I was about to say.
Yes.
I'm like, oh no.
Yes, this is in adulthood, and this is still going on with us. Let's put it that way.
Welcome to adulthood. It doesn't stop. Well, okay.
let's not throw that out there. It could.
It gets better. It definitely gets better. If you're willing to invest in it getting better, which is something I actively do in our sibling line. Yes. I actively try to make efforts to spending time with my siblings and getting to know their sides. Though I also still have some impact to the patience I have for them. So I hear you. I just want to let you know I hear you. But it's also, I want to hear from Kilted, because this also, like, in our sibling line, I'm the youngest. Except something tells me, the more I've been, like, thinking about it, I was more raised like one of the boys. And I think it's got a lasting impact.
Well, that's true. Give me a second.
But anyway, I want to echo in saying that, like, ultimately you're, like, if you're at the age it sounds like you're at, and I want to be very careful about this because, like,
this seems very difficult because he is 16.
Yeah.
So
I'm
there are definitely hormone situations going on, and your brain is still developing. So this is kind of a tough situation.
I'm gonna just say this to kind of meet you where you're at, and
Hmm.
just say that like it. Yes, it's not. Oh, uh, sorry. I just realized something. Um, I hope this isn't who I think it is. Uh, so anyway, in this situation during that time period is like you have like a lot of big feelings, and I get it, and it's really difficult right now, and I definitely encourage you to still like talk about these types of things, because like this kind of like doesn't feel fair, right? It doesn't feel fair. um and I can only imagine like how it is for you to like have to like or want to talk about this, because I can only imagine that since you're older, there's like this unspoken um request for you to have your stuff like more together than your sister. And I just want to say I see you. You're still like developing, you're doing the best you can, and I see you.
Yes, and you're at a very
And
difficult point in life too.
it's just difficult
It's
right
yeah,
now.
it's hard. We've been there.
It's
It
just
sucks.
it's really really hard. Sophomore year for me was like a very hard year for
Hmm.
in my life. But I do encourage you to lean into something like some sort of support, so that like or people understand you, because that could be very helpful during these times and can go a long way for you. So like if it's like therapy, if you have access to that, you can talk to the school counselor. Like
That's a good one.
definitely, you can definitely do that. And you can also try to see if there's a local like boys and clubs team, or like YMCA or something, because in doing that you could see if you can like be around other people and kind of get some space away. And kind of like, because sometimes when you're around your family a lot, it's harder to like it's harder to kind of like figure out your feelings from the situation, because you're like in the middle of it. So I'd like try to like find some extracurriculars or something like that to get some space.
Okay,
um
and just real quick, I want to add something in there just to kind of throw it on your brain. This all kind of goes back, you know, just from the last few years. You also have to remember that Slumpman is also coming into, I guess, manhood, if you will, during a pandemic time. So his whole social world's been thrown on its head with the everything being shut down. So he's also having to deal possibly with, you know, because you're telling him to join social groups, but with that happening, that could have possibly really, you know, it throws everything off, especially when you're developing at that age, you know, because you rely heavily on your peers, you know, to develop a personality and all that stuff. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
but I also want to say like it's just like stepping into a form of young adulthood. Like these steps are starting to slowly build up for you. So like I encourage you to like try your best to manage your space and your like energy and your your thoughts during this time. Because it's gonna right now it's just like real it's just growing pains. Or it is growing pains, but they still matter. So I hope you support that, but also definitely keep your head kind of focus on something that's important to you to get through these times, or
Uh,
that kind of anchors you through these times.
Okay. He also says, yes, I understand, but she also doesn't, so I'm guessing referring to his sister. Yes, I understand, but she also doesn't respect anyone. She says whatever she wants to everyone, and when I try to tell her to stop or discipline her, he just tells me to leave her alone and let her do whatever she wants. So that's one part. And then he also states that, quote, I take after school automotive classes. That's pretty much the only thing that keeps me sane. So he's working on cars after school, so I'm guessing he's got like a group of buddies that's probably in there also. You know, he's learning a skill, which is good. But like, because I can see how when the little sister is able to basically, like he said, essentially get away with murder in a sense, and he, as the big brother, is trying to, you know, I feel this probably goes back to our eldest. He feels like he has to step in as the older sibling, to teach, and then it's just not, you know, so his efforts to try to do good are kind of being shot down, I feel like, by the parents. So he feels like, even though he's trying to do good, I'm assuming this, Slot Man, that you're trying to do good, but you feel like you're probably being punished for what you see as a good deed, if you will. At least that's my thought. So
I could see that. I think that that's something that goes unspoken once again, is like there's this concept about like the parentified child, and anytime that a child is exposed to a single opportunity to be away from the child role, in like a big way, like they feel like they have authority to say what happens in the home. So in this situation, like, it can be also feeling conflicted between like still wanting to be a child but being put into an adult role, and that's also can possibly just not be fair, you know, because it's like it's trying to make a child like grow up faster than they should be growing up.
Gotcha. Oh, he also states, I am not the oldest. I'm the middle child. My older sister moved out at 18. She's 19 now. Okay, so
this is your turn. Tag in.
Well, yeah. So I am the middle child. Asteria here is my younger sister, and then our eldest brother is, I don't know. He's probably playing. He's elder. He's probably like watching a different stream right now because it's Thursday. I think that's the only thing that keeps him out of here. He's watching Neebs.
No, don't tell them though.
They don't know his name, it's fine. So as the middle child, yeah, that's, well, I don't know, I feel like my experience as the middle child is different because, Asteria, you didn't grow up in the same household.
No, I didn't.
So since you were off, you know, since we have different moms, you were off with our father the whole time, and then it was just myself and the eldest.
Yeah, honestly, I have to say, and it's like kind of interesting in that I feel like I got much more exposure to our father.
Yeah, so you essentially kind of grew up as an only child in a sense?
Yes.
I mean,
thank you. This is why my situation is quite a predicament. Because, oh, you're the youngest. I'm like, imagine being the youngest, being treated like an eldest. Like, and then one day being told, or, you know, like being exposed to and saying, by the way, you have not just one, but two older brothers.
Yeah.
Wild.
Okay, so back to Slump Man here. See, I'm trying to think, how does he go about doing this? I'm also trying to take into account that he's 16. So essentially, with your older sister out of the picture, let's not. Basically, she's just a non-issue at this point.
Yeah, for real.
She's gone. So that's no longer an influence.
Dead.
She's not dead. Yeah, she's just she is elsewhere at the moment.
She's gone.
She's gone. So that almost, I mean, he is the middle child, but almost kind of puts him into the eldest role now within the household. Now, like, see, if I, in my position, but I've kind of been damaged by society, I would just say, leave it alone. Let your sister do what she wants. and just let your parents handle it, because as you're still 16, you're still a child essentially, and it's not your responsibility to be taking care of that situation. You shouldn't be responsible for that. You should be still living out your teen years and being a child, having fun with your friends, learning stuff. It feels like that kind of pressure, that's a lot of pressure, and it should not be thrown on your shoulders. It's something that you should not have to worry about. So, because I feel like if you try to take on that role of being the teacher, it's going to put so much stress on you, and it's going to kind of skew the way you see the world as an adult. So, yeah, like I said, the logic side of me says, fuck it, let her do what she wants, even though it's annoying. Just, you know, put on your blinders and be like, la 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 la, it's not my problem, and just walk away from it. But what do you think, Asteri? Is that a good role to play as a sibling, or should he? Because, like I said, I'm very damaged by society. I'm just like, fuck it, not my problem, and I walk off. You deal with it. But that's, you know, because I'm in my 30s now. That's just what I've grown to deal with.
Oh, man. I think that allowing your parents to, like, come in and step in allows you to kind of, like, lessen. It sucks because, yes, you can, like, it'll help you, like, understanding, like, the opportunities to trust your parents to jump in and supporting you. But I also want to welcome that if your buttons get pushed too far, like, to take care of yourself, truly, like, because your feelings matter and you don't have to suppress them. Like, I definitely would not encourage you to suppress your feelings. There are very toxic messages in this world. And I definitely want to be somebody to say, don't suppress your emotions. Because when you do that, it may show back up later as, like, health problems. And a lot of health problems can be tied back into trauma. And, yeah, so don't do that.
Okay, now I have a question. So, as a teenager, how would you recommend one of his age be able to go to his parents and express his feelings to them effectively? Because you know, when I was at that age, you know, there's a lot of anger, obviously, because your hormones are going nuts, so you're freaking pissed off as a guy all the time, and it's hard to stay calm and express yourself in a way, especially if the parents aren't good with, you know, seeing that aspect. And just, you know, because if the parents aren't, you know, really properly prepared to be parents, they can automatically fall back, like my mom did and our father did. They fall back into a defensive mode, so they don't actually work with you. They just feel like they're being attacked because they're not really adults, even though, you know, the government says they're an adult. They're just a child in an adult's body. So it's like, how does someone of his age effectively go to someone who's older and talk to them on their level if they're not willing to come down to his level and work with him? Because he essentially at that age doesn't have the mental development yet to really see things from an adult's perspective. So it's like walking blind, and I just don't know. I don't know how to do that. Let's see. He says, yes, I know I'm not responsible for her and all, but I don't want her to burp in the microphone. Yes, I know I'm not responsible for her and all, but I don't want her growing up thinking she's entitled to things, because we have too many people like that, and kids nowadays do that. You should hear the things I hear those little kids say while I'm walking my sister home. Oh, god damn. I haven't had to deal with that, but okay, let's also take into the concept that imagine. Okay, so this is or hopefully, Asteri, you're getting your thoughts together. But I'm going to throw another little curveball into this. We do have the bite. Thank you for following, much appreciated. So his sister being in 5th grade, we also have to take into account that something that we didn't have to deal with, you and I, is she is basically growing up entirely within a social media world. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of influence outside of the household that is being put on top of her and him, but mostly her because she's younger. So he doesn't want her to grow up to be a POS.
Mm-hmm.
So how does he how does he balance what he can do to help her be a better person versus what he needs to just let his parents do as adults, as an adult, as a parent, what their job is to raise a child.
And sometimes parents fail to do that. So,
all right, the bite, I see you. Just give us a few minutes to finish this point off, and then we'll come back to you. Yeah. Thank you for stopping by.
So I'm gonna wrap this up then, in saying, when it comes to the situation, I hear you in hearing that it sounds like you feel like it's a responsibility to teach her to not be entitled and so forth like that, especially in relation to what you see in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hear you. I also want to encourage that you could try the best that you can. It doesn't guarantee that she'll hear you, but that doesn't mean that you failed. And I encourage you to find ways to teach her these lessons when she's not all activated and having tantrums or anything equivalent to it.
Yeah, and real quick, just one side note really quick. Slutman, remember also, she is a lot younger, so her brain is not going to comprehend the things that you're trying to teach her as well as you do. Kind of like the same thing that you being 16, you're not going to understand things as I will as an adult. So it kind of downgrades. You got to remember, when you're like 2 years old or whatever, you don't know how to read and write yet because your brain's just not quite there. So I know it might be hard to do, but kind of remember that there is something that she just mentally can't understand what you're saying to her. It's not that she doesn't understand. It's just her brain physically can't figure it out. It's like trying to play like a high graphics game on like a low graphics computer. It just does not have the capacity to do it. No matter how much you go freaking figure it out, it just can't. It doesn't have the hardware yet. It needs to be built up, and that just takes time. That's just a time factor. All right, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay. So the Slutman, so we're going to end your topic there for now. Think about what was said, and just kind of, work over it over the next few days in your head, over the weekend and next week. And if you want to stop back by again next week, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, we'll do this again. We're going to do this every Thursday, as long as one of our houses doesn't burn down or something and we can't make it. Stop back by. If you want to write down some questions, write them down, bring them back in, and we'll discuss it again. So for now, we're going to move over to the Bite. Thank you for stopping by. The Bite says, what is the main difference between bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder, and how do the symptoms? Yeah, this is right up your alley. And shit, I could actually learn a little bit from this due to the X. And how do the symptoms of each condition manifest differently in individuals?
Oh,
go ahead, you have the floor.
I don't know if you're still here.
Oh, they're here.
But no, not you. I know you're here.
No, the Bite's here. They just said thank you for hearing me out.
I have been waiting for your question longer than I would want to admit, but I don't care about that because I want to admit it more. Complex emotions. So, what a great question. So, let's go ahead and already break down bipolar disorder and borderline in regards to what they are actually talking about. Because first of all, I'd like to challenge the stigma of one. First of all, if you're hearing this, stop calling people bipolar. Stop doing that. It's not fun. It's not cute. I had to deal with clients that are sent like to the point of psychosis and like manic episodes that cause them to like die and to fucking go to the hospital. Please don't do that. Like, just don't. Anyway, thank you. And borderline is a lot more, it needs a lot more empathy, and y'all need to stop with that stigma of borderline because it's so much more common than you think, and probably you have it. So anyway, that's just my feelings. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome, Slump Man.
Okay.
No problem.
So bipolar disorder is a mood disorder, first of all. And so it directly impacts the mood, and it's broken down into 3 different forms that it can show up. One being bipolar 1, where I want you to imagine a baseline of like, you know, a place between like kind of the extremes of your emotions, and like that's like the space in between that usually people who don't have bipolar or some, you know, mood impairing diagnoses or so forth kind of may typically be in, let's just say, in a very broad way. But what happens is that with bipolar 1, some people have an elevated mood that is so elevated that it may have them engage in such behaviors such like risky behavior, life-threatening behavior. They may experience psychosis. They may become like there's so many branches to it, but we're just doing the basics right now. And in that, they can wind up in the hospital, right? And they also have what like look like, but it also may be another extreme of like depressive symptoms, but not as deep of a depression than it would be if it was bipolar 2. So bipolar 2 is somebody that experienced hypomanic symptoms. So things that kind of look like mania, but are like maybe not as extreme, maybe much more controllable. It also depends. It's all a spectrum.
Can you break down specifically what like hypomania and all that stuff is, just in case people don't know?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. When it comes to like mania and so forth, we're going to be talking about so mania, what that looks like in the extremes of bipolar 1 is that you may have like an it's like an inflated self-esteem. You might have like you don't need to sleep as much, or you feel like really rested after like very small amounts of sleep. You might be more talkative than usual or pressured to keep talking. You might have flight of like ideas, like thoughts just come and go like quite a bit. You may be easily distractible. You might have like this desire to like get many things done at the same time, where it's like, oh, I need to wash my car and I need to pick up my laundry and I need to go like, but it can get really wild where it's like, oh, if you're like, oh, I really need to take my car to Vegas to try to sell it to somebody because that sounds like a great idea and there's better rates out there, you know?
So it also sounds like this could possibly somewhat parallel or mirror symptoms of ADHD.
It could, but as a professional, and this is why I don't do diagnoses here, once again, to remind any of the new folks here, is because you need to know the individuals quite a little bit longer than just a first glance, because some stuff needs time to be observed.
Gotcha.
And you need to like understand the lines between multiple things, and that's why it's very crucial. If you're listening, this is why it's very crucial to go to a professional. So anyway,
which you are a professional, you can't do things due to HIPAA laws, and this is just online and for free. Certain lines we can't cross.
The extent to which I can do without going one way or another. Out of what I'm not supposed to do. So you might have then like an excessive like involvement in activities that could like be really risky, such as like you can go on like you could have like uh, all of a sudden these spurts of like severe like sexual desires, or like, and with like multiple people, or you can be um you could go like you can go like on shopping sprees that can like cause you to go broke, or even worse, you can just like engage in like very like outlandish behavior. But it's important to understand that these are all through cycles, so they're not permanent, but they have to be consistent. That's really important with this diagnosis. It's not where it's like fluctuation of super happy, super sad, super happy, super sad every single day or every other day. It's like it's a period of time, like 2 weeks of this, or like less. And it could be more frequent, or like, or not as frequent. So it can speed up the duration between the moods of like these extremes. But once again, there has to be some level of consistency between each period of that. Okay. Whereas, and so that's manic. Hypomanic is just a lesser version of that. And then there is bipolar 2, which is hypomanic and super depressed, like unbearably depressed. And there's a version of depression. Like, here's another fun fact: if you have a bipolar disorder, you should not also be diagnosed with a depressive disorder, because it is better explained by that bipolar disorder.
Interesting.
Yeah. And how do you know that? Because if the depressive symptoms only exist within that consistent period, like of the 2 weeks or whatever, and then they stop, and then there comes like that elevated stuff, that and the depressive symptoms aren't present, then it's not just depression, because it's depression better explained by bipolar, because it's cycling rather than consistent, which is what a major depressive disorder would better explain if it was consistent. So you don't feel depressed just because you're a little down on a Friday, FYI. There's a lot of things I like to debunk along the way, so
Yeah.
thanks for.
And Slotman has another question about depression after we finish this topic.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that. So that's bipolar. There's also another one that's called cyclothymia, which is this much more difficult version of like a place in between all of this, and it takes much longer to like observe and be able to diagnose, so it's not as common because of that. Okay, now who's next?
Okay, so did you cover the borderline personality disorder?
Okay, so just like that. So bipolar is a mood disorder. Borderline is a personality disorder, meaning that the symptoms that they're experiencing have now spilled into their external world and is impacting their ability to function, to connect with others, and connect with self. And it impedes on like the ability to maintain relationships in some way or another, or at least like adaptive, healthy relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So borderline. I'd like to take a moment to say that if we like borderline personality disorder, like, have you heard of this disorder before?
I mean, I've heard of it a lot.
And sorry. That borderline has a stigma that's like negative against it, but if I challenge it to saying like significant attachment trauma, like, how would you feel about the disorder from there?
Significant attachment
Trauma, like attaching to other people or attaching to people ever trauma. in a severe way?
I think that might have happened with my most current ex.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about that?
Uh, Not necessarily right now. We can, if you want to write that down, we can bring that back next week.
Okay.
Because I know Slumpman's got another question, or I'm just kind of looking at how long we've been going.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I'll say then. I'll say that borderline very much is a result of like somebody not getting enough of their emotional and trust development skills from an early age. Um they can develop more in like time for some folks, but is less common because again it's a lack of developed self in such a severe way that the individual keeps on just staying limited to their limbic system of being reactive their to their emotions that they haven't processed, and so they respond to current situations like they would if they had a second chance to respond how they wanted to their trauma, and it just kind of bounces back and forth between them.
Gotcha.
So that being said, would you like me to list some symptoms?
Let's see. Yeah, the bite is asking, how do the symptoms of each condition manifest differently in individuals?
Okay. So the thing about bipolar disorders is and borderline is that they're not able to be diagnosed until later into adolescence, more than commonly. And borderline can show up in different ways before it can be called borderline from a young age. Like there's another diagnosis, it's in the neurodevelopmental ones. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But it's like, let's see. It's gonna bother me. Hold on. It's called, like, there's these diagnoses that they have for like children who are quote unquote misbehaving more commonly, and it can like actually be diagnoses, but commonly people don't give that chance to like figure out what they are and treat them at young. They don't usually get addressed until they get much older, which definitely sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them being borderline. So borderline could be something that is managed, but it's because it's prolonged, ongoing, chronic, like attachment wounds that haven't had a chance to like it's like the pain of like the attachment wound or the attachment trauma kept happening, and like no one took their foot off the gas
Right.
as often, not giving enough breaks in between.
Gotcha.
So with that, there's these diagnoses that can like start showing themselves and becoming more present, and then that impact like behaviors and so forth, and then from there they can lead up into borderline. So that's what that can play a role to borderline. And does it have to do with chemicals in some capacity? Yes, there is an impact. It's nature and nurture. All of them will always be nature and nurture. And in borderline, yeah, that's not usually typically diagnosed until later on. It's just something that happens with the brain, and like genetics and more than anything. So.
Gotcha. Does that wrap that up?
I think so, because I don't think anyone really wanted to hear the symptoms of borderline, which is fine. But yeah, just wanted to say like personality disorder impacting their ability to connect with people. Bipolar disorder and mood disorder. You know, that's yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, and then the Bite says, I'm not a mental health professional at all. I've just done a lot of research for certain things like what I just answered. Oh, because they answered something for the Slump Man. So let's go back to what the Slump Man had asked, and then I will read Bite's response, and then you can kind of go from there.
Okay.
So Slump Man asks, I got a question. How can you tell if you have depression? And then the Bite responded with, depression often involves persistent feelings of sadness, emptiness, or hopelessness that affect your daily functioning. If you experience a combination of several symptoms, such as loss of interest or pleasure in activities, changes in appetite or sleep patterns, low energy or fatigue, difficulty concentrating or making decisions, feelings of guilt or worthlessness, and recurrent thoughts of death or suicide, it's important to consult a healthcare professional for an accurate diagnosis. So I imagine that was like a big old copy pasta from probably WebMD.
No, I mean that's basically they're quoting the diagnostics manual.
Right.
Like
so they're on par with that, I imagine then, right? We're on par.
Oh yeah, that's it. The one thing I want to add to all of that is that that there's some like the thing is that for it to be diagnosed or be major depressive disorder, one thing that's really important to know is it can't be better explained by other other diagnoses like schizos, diagnoses or psychotic disorders, and it can't also be better explained by it can't be like if you have a manic episode or a hypomanic episode, then you automatically don't have major depressive disorder. It literally is like the last criteria of major depressive disorder. So if you have a hypomanic or a manic episode, it can be better explained by bipolar.
Gotcha.
But you can't be bipolar and individually have major depressive disorder. These are separate. There's different severities to it. There's a version of it that has a depressive disorder that has that has like psychotic features. And there's also specifiers to like if you're in partial remission of it or full remission, because remission is possible. And it could also be specified from like other features of it, like anxious distress, mixed features, I don't know, like other random ones, like freaking like I think like there's seasonal patterns, I think is one, and then there's like catatonia like that. So yeah, like there's different specifiers to it as well.
All right. Let's see. The Bite says, I am not a mental health professional at all. I have just done a lot of research for certain things like what I just answered, but not more complex things like what I just asked. Thanks for answering my question. Well, you're very welcome. Hopefully you're able to get some benefit out of what we have discussed for you.
And this is why I like doing this, so thank you for all your questions.
Yay! And if you got any more questions, feel free to write them down throughout the next week and come back next week, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, where we will be doing this all over again, assuming that our house doesn't burn down or something. You know, just...
That'd be nice.
What, that your house burns down?
That it doesn't?
It's summertime. Now is not the time to burn down your house. Wait until the winter, at least.
Oh, yeah. We won't get through the winter that way.
All right. If anybody else has got any questions, we got about 6-7 minutes left. I mean, we can go over a little bit. If you got any more questions, throw them in. If not, well, then that's all good. We'll get back to playing some Fall Guys until somebody throws a question in. I have enough time for another round or so.
Okay. I can stay for one more round.
All right. So if you got any questions, try to keep them quick. If not, wait till next week. And I'm sorry.
I'm not. Show up next week.
The Gilded Arrow says, woo Fall Guys. The Gilded Arrow should probably be at work, isn't he?
No, they're freaking They should be just hanging out right now. And
Whoop! You're not in my freaking game. Where are you at? Whoop!
I don't know. It's like acting up. Hold on. And it crashed.
Go figure.
This update has caused so many issues.
It has. It's been kind of a pain in the butt.
It's like where I can't even like get out of the game now. I have to like turn off the whole station.
Jeez, this game. The Bite says, I'm going to go as well, so thanks once again for answering that question. I'll be here for next week for some more interesting questions, but it would take too long to answer right now. So, yeah, see you guys and bye. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we get to see you again next week. Hopefully you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful next week until we see you. Take it easy and take care of yourself.
Drink water, not just coffee.
Drink water, not just coffee, even though coffee's delicious.
That could be your part of that. I actually can't even. Oh, there we go. Wild. Oh my god. I'm trying to turn off my system because it is that frozen. It is ridiculous.
Well, we might just be talking this one out at the end then.
It is what it is then. Good.
Yeah, we got like 4 minutes left. I mean, if you want to try to do another one, we can.
I'm not even gonna bother. It's like rebooting now, so I'm like, fuck.
All right, her system died, so we'll just chat and just kind of vamp for the next 4 minutes. I dropped my fidget spinner. The Gilded Arrow, you got any questions? I'm gonna hear him in the background. No.
He's not here with me.
Gilded Arrow says, "Oh hey, I think I can Fall Guys on the PS4." Well, if you want to give it a shot sometime.
Play with freaking him.
Nah, we're gonna end it in like 3 minutes. I don't want to start up another one.
Okay.
All right, let's see. I think this was a good session.
This was a good session. This was a very good discussion based this time.
It was.
Last week, game time. We were doing really good last week.
Yeah, even though it was just the two of us, I feel like we got through a lot of stuff last week. I actually enjoyed last week's really much.
Very, very good.
I enjoyed last week's a whole bunches. So
okay.
That was good. Even though there weren't many people. You know what I think the difference was? Now, am I saying this on stream? Is because normally when we were doing these, I was putting because when you start the live stream, it says, "Oh, you know, like what are you doing?" And you can type in the game, so it knows what. I guess like so if people were to go search like, "Oh, I want to watch somebody play Fall Guys," or "I want to watch somebody play Dark Souls," you can just type in the game and it'll show you who's playing that game. So even though we are playing Fall Guys this time, I didn't put it under Fall Guys. I put it under just chatting. So essentially, if people are, so if people are just looking for conversation, then that's where it is.
Nice.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, well, if I switch it over, more people will probably find it, because not many people are like, hey, I got mental health questions. Let's see who's playing Fall Guys. Like,
yeah,
like no one's going to be going down that road. So I was like, maybe I should switch it up and try it a different way. And it seems to have worked.
I'm happy that we got some audience tonight and had a chance to have a very good conversation.
Yay!
I did. So that was nice.
Yeah, and hopefully those folks will come back and kind of we get some follow up on what's going on.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about what happened.
Good. Hopefully you can write it down or something, because I won't remember. Because I got the memory of a freaking goldfish.
I have a very good memory when it comes to information like this.
Oh yeah, well, because that's your job.
Hey, it took a lot of training.
Yeah, it does take a lot of training. I think I've trained my brain to just, never mind. I don't want to get into it. Me and information, like, retention don't get along too great. Basically, it needs to come up repetitively. You should see how long it takes me to remember somebody's name.
I think that's what I was saying about my ADHD, because that was me. That is me too. I had to think of ways to, like, get around it. Around the leaf.
Gilded Arrow says, my memory is also awful. Have you been here before? I'm messing with him. All right, well, yeah, that's pretty much our time. So I would like to say thank you to everybody that has stopped by. That was very fun. I'm glad you guys came by with your questions. If you want to come back next week, same time, same place. Wait, can I throw like a little slogan together? You got some questions, same time, same place. We'll throw some knowledge in your face. God, that was terrible. I'm never gonna say that again. Anyway,
that was beautiful.
Yeah. If you would like to watch this episode again, you can check out my YouTube, as you can see down here in the right hand corner. It'll also be up here on Twitch I should probably look at the camera. I keep forgetting I move it. It'll be up here on Twitch for the next 7 days before it gets deleted. So after that time, go to the YouTube. You'll find it there. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Check out the link in the description below and go follow us on Twitch. And then if you have any mental health questions, come on over here. It'd be great. We do this every Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Myself, Asteria, we talk about mental health. So bring your questions on in, and hopefully we can help make your life a little bit better also. And it's all for free. You don't have to pay $200-something an hour for this crap. This is freaking free. Yeah, you're welcome. Jeez.
I should do this as a freaking, as a tax write-off.
I know, you probably could. Alrighty, well, that's it, everybody. We will see you guys later. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful week, and we'll hopefully see you next time. Bye, Asteria. We'll see you later. Goodbye. Bye. All right, bye. Take it easy, chat. Have a good one. Take care of yourself, and, drink water. Okay, bye.